Hi, pastors, leaders, missionaries, friends from all over the world. I have some news, some good news to share with you. It involves some big changes for Mand and I and even our family, but wanted to share this, take the opportunity to share this with you. Many years ago, 40 years ago, God called Amanda and I, actually 41 years ago, called us to the nations in Jerusalem, Israel. And so he said to us that if we're willing to go anywhere, at any time, at any cost, that he would take care of us and our children and our generations to follow. And he promised us that he'd give us a home, but it wasn't yet time, and that he would do this, but it would not be in South Africa. And so anyway, cut a long story short, we live in America, as many of you know, and a few years ago the Lord began to tell us that big changes was coming. And one of them was the Lord said to us that he wants us to sell our home. Now, this home that we live in is the fulfillment of a promise that he gave us 41 years ago. And so it was his home, and so we needed to make sure that we do what he wants us to do, not what we want to do. But anyway, so we decided we're going to, at some point, sell the house. That was the first thing. The second thing that happened was that God was showing us that we were going to change churches. And as I said before, I didn't know how that was going to happen. And so meeting with a young pastor with a church down here in town who I've known for many years, and having coffee with him and saying to him, I would be happy to help you guys in whatever way, just like I do with everybody else. And he got back to me and said, well, interestingly enough, the October before, which is when God spoke to us about changes, he said he had a word from the Lord from somebody in California, and the word was, there's a guy by the name of Gary that's coming to your church, and he's going to help and be a blessing to the church. And he never thought it would be, he never even thought it's me, but he suddenly realized that it might be. So anyway, we made that change to a new church. We put the house on the market last year, and it was a little late in the season, so we took it off again, and we've just put it back on the market. And so that's also a big change. We don't know where we're going to go or what we're going to do, because the houses here are selling at crazy prices, but you can't replace it because there's no houses available. So, but we're selling it. And then our children called us in. I have 3 daughters, and of course a big family, and they shared with Amanda and I that they felt God has spoken to them all to go back to Africa. And it was a shock for both Amanda and I. It was so sudden, and we struggled with it. And we went back home, and a little while after that, I had a dream. Amanda was beginning to realize that maybe God is speaking through our children. And I had a dream, and in this dream, I was saying no to the Lord. I don't want to go back to South Africa. And the Lord kept pointing at me, and he said, you're going back, you're going back. And eventually I woke up, and as I woke up, he said to me, thank you very much for being willing to do what you have done, willing to go anywhere at any time, at any cost for me. And he said, but now I'm sending you back to South Africa. And then he said something wonderful. He said, when you left, you took your children, and they had no choice because of their age. But now as you go back, I'm using your children to speak to you to go back. So they're the ones that are wanting to go back, and you kind of, and the Lord showed me, you kind of, okay, the Lord wants us to go to Africa. So it's a big change, and we're hoping to be back there sometime this year. And and that's the news. And so it'll be exactly the same. We'll still be in contact with you all. We'll still be doing seminars and pastor summits and teaching sessions and mentoring, everything that we've done in the past. The only difference is we'll be based in Africa. We intend now, with COVID lifting, all the restrictions lifting, we're able to set dates to visit different countries that we have in the past, like Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and many, many more. So everything's as usual, but we just wanted to inform you that big changes are in the process, and we're going to be living on the other side of the world. God bless you. We love you all, and let's keep in contact.